Wally Hames,
They say their names
Samuel Patterson,
and hold their photos.
Tony Moore.
So my dad was a London bus driver and he caught COVID in April 2020. His bus route started at Ealing Hospital, so he was, carrying patients and healthcare workers. He didn't have any PPE to do his job safely. It was incredibly unsafe, the conditions he was working in, and I'm here to learn what was their level of preparedness.
As the COVID inquiry began, bereaved families lined the entrance, each with their own story of grief and loss. Becky Kuma was stopped from seeing her father as he died alone in hospital.
I had one goodbye phone call with him in 6 days while he was dying in the hospital, and even though the hospital's in London, I live in London, we just weren't allowed to go and visit him. I said goodbye down a nurse's telephone. He didn't even have his phone with him in hospital, and we weren't allowed to take anything from home to the hospital. That will always haunt me, and it was just such a horrible way to lose my wonderful dad.
Walking past the silent protest, the inquiry chair, Lady Heather Hallett, who opened the hearing, trying to reassure families she was listening to their concerns.
It is on their behalf and on behalf of the millions who suffered and continue to suffer in different ways as a result of the pandemic that I intend to answer the following 3 questions. Was the UK properly prepared for a pandemic? Was the response to it appropriate? And can we learn lessons for the future?
I'm angry. I need questions answered.
Starting proceedings, a 17-minute film featuring relatives. But COVID affected everyone, either through bereavement, loss of employment, or the wider effects of lockdowns, whose costs were not fully considered, according to the inquiry's lead lawyer.
Very little thought was given to how, if it proved to be necessary, something as complex and difficult and damaging as a national lockdown could be put in place at all.
Public inquiries are notoriously long and expensive. The Grenfell inquiry, for example, has so far cost £170 million and hasn't even delivered its final report. The COVID inquiry is aiming for 2027 for its final report. The first witness starts giving evidence tomorrow. Rags Martel, ITV News.